Now is the time in our service when we get to go a little deeper into some meditation. So I invite you to get comfortable in your chair. Take things out of your lap. Get those feet firmly planted on the floor as we begin to breathe a little bit more deeply, settling our energy into this place where we know where we have to be, nothing we have to do, but just be. Be here now, be present. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to see that sweet breath of God breathing in and out through your heart space, opening your heart. Think back to that time over 2,000 years ago, the anticipation of the birth of Jesus, and think about the energy that's all around the manger scene as everybody is gathering there. The star that shines, the people that are drawn to that potentiality that is about to unfold. The shepherds, the wise men, all of the animals are even attracted to that sweet energy there. Think of the joy that they felt as they gathered at the birth of this baby Jesus, waiting for that new consciousness, that birth of that Christ consciousness in all of us. And so I invite you, as you're breathing deeply now, to bring into your heart one of those memories that brings you such joy, that you have anticipation for, or that you feel fills you up when you think of it. It could be a memory of a loved one, or of an event, of a pet, or it could be something that you're anticipating this holiday season, a family gathering. And now I invite you to let that joy well up in you. Take just a moment in the silence and feel that joy, that anticipation in you in the silence. What we know is that when you are in that feeling of joy, when you have that connection to your heart space, to the Christed beingness within you, you radiate it out. So I invite you from that lifted up place in your heart to send that love light, that joy in your heart. Send that to our planet. Send it to every single being on earth so that they may know and feel what we know and feel to be the truth for us. see every sentient being on the planet with a smile on their face in anticipation of knowing the joy of who they are. We know and we understand that we are not our emotions, we are not these thoughts, we are not these feelings, we are not even these bodies. We are one with all that is. And so when our energy is in that place of joy, everyone feels it, everyone around us. And so we're so grateful for this knowing that we can, anytime, anywhere, when we're around someone who is not feeling it, we can secretly, from our hearts, send it and surround them with it so that they can feel that joy vibration as well. We're so grateful for these tools and techniques that we know that can impact not only our immediate family, but everyone in the world is impacted by how you show up. And so we say thank you, indwelling Spirit, for this sweet, short reminder of the joy of God in you. And now whenever you're ready, bring your focus back into this room and wiggle those fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, just open your beautiful eyes. I am a people watcher. I don't know about you. I could just sit in the airport and watch. You make up stories, about where people are going or what they're doing. Or it's just, I've always been that. And I don't know if it's because I've studied sociology and I like to figure out what's going on with people. But there is nothing that touches me more than witnessing when someone does something like a random act of kindness. Those kinds of things bring me joy. And there's been a lot of that going around. There was a story recently about a news crew in the Kentucky area that had arrived on scene at this destruction of the tornado. And they arrived at this elderly lady is kind of in a daze, I'm sure, standing in what was left of her home, right? And they go up to her and they ask her how she's feeling. Well, duh. How would you feel if everything you owned was simply blown away in a second, It was a miracle. She had a few scratches, but it was a miracle that she walked away from that. And they said, how do you feel? And she said, well, it's just stuff. It can all be replaced. In the calmness in the peace of her heart, it's just stuff, she said. And they said, well, if there was one thing that you could change or you could have, and she said, oh, my dog. I can't find my dog. And in that very instant, one of the news crews said, there's something moving over there. And they go over and they drop everything, they run over and they pull this tin off and this dog's head pops out. And everybody's crying in this news event. It's like instantaneous God gift of grace, just in that moment. Of course, everybody's crying. Grace in the middle of seeming chaos. What a gift, what a gift. So how do we acquire, how do we cultivate, see my little sign? Cultivate joy. How do we cultivate joy in the midst of what feels like not so joyful? Because sometimes the holidays are hard on people. Not everybody has loved ones to gather around. Some people are still separated and everything. So how do we do that? Well, I will tell you that I think when we understand that God is joy, and joy, because it is God, is everywhere present in all things, in all circumstances, in all situations, that it doesn't really matter what is going on in the physical, because we know who we are. We know how powerful we are. We know that we are these Christed beings, and that joy is our nature. And so that even when things like that happen, we can find some glint of joy in it. So we have a video that we want to show you of a family who has figured it out this holiday season. Oh my God. It's not a new video. It's been around for a while, but I thought, you know, when you're grateful, I mean, could you see how the gratitude kept building? The bigger the gifts were, the bigger the experience, and how much we take for granted, right? I mean, just imagine if we started every day like that, being grateful for the lights that turn on, the water in the shower, the cup of coffee, or whatever it is that we're driving, right? I just love that. And you know, children seem to understand that a lot more. We kind of get it worn out of us because children have that. They have that juicy joy in them all the time. They are in anticipation and on target with their joy. But we kind of forget it. We get wrapped up in the humdrum of our to-do list and everything we think we have to be and do, and we forget. But children seem to understand that. And if we can just stay awake, just a little bit of what they were experiencing, that meaning of Christmas continues to evolve. That consciousness continues to evolve and grow in us so that we understand that we are joy. I've been really putting some focus around it lately. We had a sweet board gathering at Mary Curtis's house, and we had a great prayer chaplain Christmas party at Vivian's house. We got to go see Iman Bisha, you know, the amazing singer that's 13, at the Gulf Theater. Oh my God, tears running down my face. The girl sings like an angel. And then I've had massage. Yesterday I had a private sound healing session. I'm like, zen, you know. It's up to us to do those things that bring us joy. It's nobody else's job. It's up to us to find and do those things that feed our soul, that we long for, that bring tears to our eyes. It's up to us to do that. I believe we cultivate joy by appreciating even the random everyday things, just by appreciating those and those gifts that grace us every single day. We make a choice to choose that kind of attitude, choose that kind of perception, right? We perceive that with our attitude. I think that Jesus inspired us throughout his life to live that life of joy without having a whole lot. You never saw him with a whole lot, but he was always filled with joy and always looking for the good and seeing the good in everyone. And we can live from that joy that is already within us. That's what this fourth week of Advent is all about. It's about how do we maintain that? How do we begin to feel that triumphant joy awakening in us? Because we're deepening, throughout this season, we're deepening our understanding of that Christ presence within us and how powerful that is. So maybe it's easier for some than others, but to me, it's sort of a time to take stock. Because I love the holidays. What's not to like? Sometimes I like the baked goods too much, but it's the candies, the cookies, you know, oh my God, every time you go to somebody's house, there's something more wonderful to try. The giving and the receiving of the gifts, the singing of the songs, the music, all the carols. I have carols running on my TV, you know, that music app on the TV. I have carols. My poor dog, you know, I think about the hours that I'm gone. He must be going crazy with all the Christmas songs that run all the time. But it's not so much about all of that stuff that's on the outside. It's really more about the celebration and the gratitude. That's what I think it is. And we take this time of year to take stock take stock of our lives, our own evolving Christ consciousness. Are you discovering wonder and joy during the season? Or are you one of those bah humbug kind of people? It is a choice, isn't it? What are you allowing to be born in your Christ consciousness this day as we enter the week of Christmas? How many of you are familiar with Dr. David Hawkins' work, The Map of Consciousness, The Levels of Consciousness? Oh my God, there are 17 levels of consciousness, and it's all based on the algorithms. He did a whole study on it. There are 17 of them, and the very bottom is shame. Well, joy is third from the top, and it resonates. Its frequency is 540, right? Well, the very top one is enlightenment, and it starts at 700. So when you're in joy, the word associated with the feeling of that is serenity. So when you're in joy, your vibration is way up there. And when you're in joy, everybody feels that. The next one after joy, there's only like 2 others. So if we're serious about raising our vibration and wanting to help the planet, we need to focus on cultivating that joy. We need to bring it forth from us. There's magic in joy. There's such magic and joy that it rings through our cells when we're in that place. The hard places are made easy, and the burdens are converted into privileges and blessings. And tears of sadness can turn into rainbows when we're radiating joy, because we're in a whole different frequency. Just the word joy itself hums. I challenge you to say the word joy over and over and over again, very slowly, and you will feel it. It will begin to radiate in your body, and you'll begin to tingle in your cells. It is an amazing, amazing vibrational word. Every nerve will begin to tingle, and you'll have this sudden urge to want to jump up and dance or sing a song or do somehow express this inexplicable feeling that you have that's bubbling up inside of you. It's impossible to feel joy and not radiate it out. It's impossible. So there's this other video going around that I heard about recently. I think it's just like the day before yesterday. And this sister is at her brother's house, and he also, the roof blew off of his house in the tornado, and everything's pretty much in rubble, and she's in his bedroom trying to pack up what few things that she can gather that are salvageable, and she hears music. And she's like, what is that? And she goes into the other room, and there's her brother sitting at his piano, playing this song. This song is called There's Something About That Name. And this is a song that is thanking God that he and his family are still alive. In the midst of all the rubble, his piano was spared. And there he sat, no roof, nothing around, but there's the piano, right? What are the odds of that? And so he's sharing his gift with everyone that's in the area. He was grateful for his piano and grateful for his life. You know, in the Bible, Paul says, give thanks in words. In everything, give thanks. Because that state, you see, that spiritual gladness keeps our nerves poised, our body filled with life, and then when we're in that place, our imagination wakes up. It's charged. And then, you see, we become like an open channel to receive more divine ideas for what is ours to do. Because we open up that creative mind that we are part of, the mind of God of, right? So when we're in that place, divine ideas flow in and through us and can lead us to undreamed of accomplishments, things that we had never thought of before. This is when we really, truly understand that the joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy is from that Christed beingness, our I am that we are, the truth of who we are, the truth of who we came here to be. It's about knowing our divinity. So today we're in the Bible. We're in Luke, of course. We're so close to Christmas. We're doing the Christmas story on Christmas Eve. But I have just this two from Luke chapter 2, verse 9 and 10. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people." Great news of good joy. Those angels, they represent spiritual ideas that are implanted in every one of our souls when we come to this planet. Angels appear to us in our consciousness in many different ways, but precisely, mostly in guiding light. When you ask, we talked about this at the prayer chaplain meeting, how magnificent our prayers are. When we pray, we receive. It may not be exactly what it was that we were thinking about, but we will receive answers because that's just the way it works. So that divine guidance can be an answered prayer in your life. In the new birth of our consciousness, these ideas are quickened. Myrtle Fillmore talked about quickenings. It's the same thing that happened to me when I saw this little church on the website. Bob Brummett said, I had a quickening. My heart went, whoa, what is this Unity Church of Peace thing? I have to go check this out from Texas. Quickenings. It's that knowing that you know. It's heart coherence. And so when you are in that place of asking for prayers, whatever you ask for comes. It's because you are a divine idea in the mind of God, and you are co-creating your life. So that's how powerful you are. So that Christ within, that awareness is being reborn in us. It's up to us to decide how much we want to move through that, how much we want to claim, how much we want to be. That's free will. But I say we need to claim it. The birth of Jesus symbolizes that awakening of our soul and body to this larger spiritual consciousness that our planet needs. It's why we're here, isn't it? We're here to grow in consciousness, to grow and awaken that Christ consciousness in us. And knowing that fills me with joy. You cannot not wake up and not feel it. It's part of our foundation, just like faith is. So if we stay awake, the meaning of Christmas continues to grow in us and evolve in us. Our understanding of ourselves, our understanding of our relationship with God, and our capacity to express the joy of God through us grows as well. Reverend Chris Chenoweth says, to give away Christmas spirit is as simple as a smile. We don't have to necessarily do huge gifts and all of that for everybody. We show up. We show up in love, and we love on people. We witness their spiritual journeys. We smile at those people in Walmart that are working. We smile at all of the people that are working through the holidays. Let your joy be obvious on your face, right? Okay, now it's time for a joke. Enough preaching. Okay, so there's this mechanic. He's an auto mechanic, and he works out of his home. And he has a dog named Mace. Well, the problem with Mace, you see, is that he likes to eat the grass. He will literally mow the grass. And of course, it doesn't do any good for him. So, he has to keep Mace locked up most of the time. So one day he's out there in the backyard working on a car, and he drops his wrench. Well, because he's had Mace locked up, the grass is tall and he can't find his wrench. So it's getting dark anyway. He gives up and he goes inside. Well, that night, Mace escaped, and he went out there and he ate all of the grass in the backyard. So when the mechanic gets up the next day, he goes out and he goes, oh my goodness, and he looks over and he sees this glinting, and he realizes there's his wrench that he couldn't find yesterday. Mace has come and trimmed everything down, and now there's his wrench. And he looks up to the heavens and he says, a grazing mace, how sweet the hound that saved a wrench for me. It cracked me up, so I figured it would crack you up. A grazing mace. Okay, I want to close today. I found on truthunity.net, I found a writing by this woman named Marjorie Moeller, M-O-H-L-E-R. I'm not familiar with her, but she was a prolific writer, and she wrote just freelance for the Fillmores. And so in one of their publications, she wrote this thing on joy, and I wanted to share it with you. She wrote this in 1935. She says, persist in affirming joy until your heart is lifted up in gladness. For unless your affirmations strike deep into the emotions, they have little power. All things respond to the call of rejoicing. All things gather where life is a song. So sings the poet. Drop your troubles just for today. Let go of every care and worry and give yourself wholly, unreservedly to this joyous reaction. Thereafter, you will never need any further assurance that you are working with an immutable law which knows no failure, no sickness, no sadness, no depression, no loss, which is the very emollient of good, by virtue of which happiness, peace, and power are objectified in your life. Claim your rightful heritage now and go forth with courage. For has it not been given unto you to be conquerors of the earth? Wow. Do you love that? And so it is, and so we claim that. Amen. Now is the time in our service when we get to give from our good into the community. So I invite you to take your offerings and tithes in your hand as we bless them and say our offertory blessing together. And all of you that are giving through Breeze and PayPal, we love you for punching that button. Here we go. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so. Thank you so much. Namaste.